Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel. My name's Marissa, and today I am doing the last part of my September wrap-up. So I ended up reading a total of 15 books in the month of September. 10 of them were physical books, 4 of them were audiobooks, and only one of them was an ebook. So the first book that I ended up finishing was The Daughter of a Siren Queen by Tricia Levenseller, and that I listened to on audio. So this is the second book in the Daughter of a Pirate Queen series. And again, just like the first book, I just really didn't think that it was that great, honestly. I thought it was more about the romance, and I really wanted more like piratey action. Although there was a lot more pirate action in this one, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I guess I ended up listening to the second one because I just kind of wanted a continuation on the story, I suppose, to see if it got any better, but I don't think it really did. So anyway, it was just kind of like a middle of the road book. And I think if I'd went into it assuming that it was more romance than anything else, then I probably would have liked it better. The next book that I finished, of course, was book number 6 in the Mistborn trilogy, Second Era, and that is The Bands of Mourning. Of course, I can't tell you too much about this book because it's got spoilers, but this is another book in the Wax and Wayne series. There is still one more coming out, which of course has not even been written, though I'm really looking forward to it, so hopefully that comes out soon. So the next 3 books that I ended up finishing was, of course, the David Bad trilogy. I'm not going to hold them all up because they're chunky books and they're very heavy, so I'm just going to hold The City of Brass and call it good. So these books are about essentially these jinn, and they're, you know, genies, and these books are set in like the Middle East, and it's kind of surrounding Middle Eastern culture and the jinn, and there's different races of these jinn. And this girl who is living in Cairo in Egypt, she ends up getting dragged into this world only to find out that really she was a part of it. She just didn't know it. So there's a lot of political things that go down in this book, so it's very politics heavy. It's also very battle heavy. I do find that I kind of zone out during battle scenes a lot when I'm reading them, just because they can get very repetitive and boring. You know, they're great on TV, just not so good in books for me. Even despite that, I still enjoyed it. The way that this author wove these plots together and these intricacies, I really enjoyed it. And it ended up being the first book, I kind of didn't know whether I was really going to enjoy it a whole lot. I kind of thought the first book was a little light and fluffy. But then going on to the second and third books, it all began to come together. These little itty bitty threads that the author had put in the first book started to be woven into the second and third ones, and I really ended up enjoying it a lot more. So I definitely think that these books lived up to the hype for me. Will I ever be reading these again? Probably not, but that's only because it's really heavy on the battle again, and the politics and stuff. So you know, as much as I enjoyed reading these, I just didn't fall in love with the characters, but that's just me. So the next one and the final book that I ended up finishing in the month of September was The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. So this is kind of supposed to be a thriller book, and it is pretty creepy. I do have to say, this is a very fast read. It's very fast paced. You know, you go into it really getting a feel of like this ghost story, this haunted house. So the beginning starts out, and this girl ends up finding this job that is in the Scottish countryside, basically being a live-in nanny for this family. And she really wants it because it's a great salary, and she ends up interviewing with the family, and this house is absolutely gorgeous. It was like this old Victorian mansion almost, but they upgraded it to be a smart house. So everything in this house is completely controlled by cell phones and apps and things like that. So she really likes it because it's a good blend of the historical and the modern. And So she ends up getting this job and moving in there, and she says right in the beginning that one of the children died, and she ends up being imprisoned for it. And she's essentially writing these letters about this whole story to her lawyer and trying to explain how she's innocent. So I thought this book was good until the plot twist was revealed, and then I'm like, what? That just didn't make any sense. So the ending completely ruined this book for me, to be perfectly honest. I think that it could have been a lot better than it was. So yeah, again, middle of the road book. It went really, really fast. I almost read this in an entire day. I kind of had to stop myself from doing that, but I thought it was a halfway decent book. It just wasn't one of my favorite thriller books of all time, for sure. So yeah, that was the second half of all the books that I read in the month of September. Overall, it wasn't a stellar reading month, but I did read a lot of really chunky books. I did end up finishing the TBR that I set for myself, and a lot of them were very epic fantasy. I mean, reading the entire Mistborn set of books, the first trilogy and then the second trilogy, was a lot. And then to put the David Bed trilogy on top of that, that was 9 chunky books with epic fantasy. So I'm really pleased that I ended up getting through them all. So I think it was a pretty good reading month just based on that. So anyway, that is all I have for you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye. Thank you so much for watching my video. I upload every Wednesday and Saturday, and I would really love it if you would like, comment, and subscribe my videos. Have a great day.